focus on making a connection. And we did this yesterday, and I want to review with you guys what making a connection is. Can somebody tell me what they remember about making a connection? McKenna?
It's like text to world, text to self, text to math.
Okay. And we have different levels of making a connection. Our novice connection is not making one at all. To be an apprentice is you try to make one, but it's not about the math. Can someone give me an example of maybe an apprentice connection? Cooper?
You say one about what you did in your life.
Yeah, like let's say the problem's about basketball and you're like, oh, I play basketball. It's still a connection, but is it deep enough?
No.
Then we have practitioner, which is making a connection to our math work. But what does it take to be an expert at making a connection? Katie?
You make a connection to the math of the problem.
Yeah, can someone give me an example of that? Isabella?
So you basically say, this problem is like so-and-so problem. And I've done this before, and I see we're using this in it.
Ooh, I love that. So I've seen this before, and I remember another problem that was just the same. Excellent. Another way, Sophia?
And you can use one of those things according to the problem. So according to the problem, I see symbols, and we're comparing what is greatest to least. And let's say in math stations, I use symbols.
Yeah, so Sophia brought up that you can use one of the sentence stems to show text evidence. Solving notebook, we're on set 3. Grab your rubric and your questions and head to your spots. So ahead and go. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 8 minutes to solve today. Can someone tell me how we break up our time? If I give you 8 minutes, what are the things that you need to do? Connor?
We need 1 minute of reading.
Okay.
And 2 minutes of talking about a plan, and the rest of the time we do problem solving.
Yeah, what should you do at the very end? Let's say you have a minute left on the timer. What could you do? Abby?
You can show another strategy, or you can explain your thinking.
Yeah, even if it doesn't ask you to, right? Absolutely. What's the thing that we need to focus on today? What's our focus? One more time. Was it, Colin?
Connection.
Making a connection. So let's all go ahead and write the word connection on the answer space so that we remember that we need to write one down. All right, guys, you have about 8 minutes. Take the first minute to read, and then explain, and then solve. You may start.
I think it's kind of fast because it goes 30, 35, 40, 45. Let's try My connection of this is that I've used a table before, and I figured out one of the keys.
So first,
I used the same table before, and I once got a pack of cards, and there were 16 cards in a pack.
So you have to read the problem to a relationship with between the two of the sets of the numbers, and you can describe how you can use this relationship to find the number of sports cards in the 11 packages. And you have to find the rule of the table, and then you can solve and figure what the answer is. So, what operations can you use to help you solve this problem, if it's applicable?
Use division and multiplication. Division to divide 30 and get 6, and multiplication to get.
Well, we did multiplication, and that was very effective because, what we were doing is we multiplied by 11 to get our answer about the 55.
So first we found out our answer by 6 times length equals 30, and we multiplied that by 11.
time I saw an input-output table in another packet, so I know it is relationships.
Okay, so how do you feel?
I think I'm a 3 because I noticed something about my math work and
Right here.
I'm the problem.
Okay, for my connection, I noticed that we are using tables and I've been using tables before.
How do you feel?
I feel 3, 2 because I noticed something about.
Let's read the problem. Can anybody tell me how many jobs that we had to do in this problem? Quinn, how many did you count? 2. You counted 2, and I'm assuming you counted as the question, what is the relationship, as our job number 1, and to describe how you can use it to find the number of sports cards in a certain number of packages. Does everybody agree?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at this table. Does anybody have a name for what kind of table this is? What is this, Maddie?
Input-output table.
It's an input-output table, that's right. And when we have an input-output table, did anybody make a connection to that they could explain? Because we talked about this earlier this week. What did you say, Joel?
I said I've used a table and I know how to find it in relationship with them.
Okay, good one. Okay, so how do you guys feel about making a connection to this specific problem? Do you feel like, 1, you didn't make a connection? 2, you kind of could make a connection. Maybe you collect sports cards and you thought of that. 3, you made a math connection. But 4, you had to show how this problem is like another problem. See a lot of 4s out there, a couple 3s. Okay, nice job.